In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to create a personalized calendar using your own photos and a calendar template in PaintShop Pro. We'll also go over some more advanced creative techniques to really customize your calendars to your liking. Before we get started, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you'll find a link in the description below that will take you to our tutorial page on the Discovery Center. Here you can download a written copy of this tutorial to follow along. Let's get started. I have my calendar template opened up in PaintShop Pro. Make sure that you open up the Materials and Layers palettes if they aren't already open. You can do this by going to Palettes and then selecting the Materials and Layers palettes. Let's go over to the Layers palette, and you can see we have each month of the year as a different layer. Underneath that, we have an image mask area for adding your own custom image. And finally, a variety of different seasonal backgrounds. You can see that the visibility icon is toggled on for January. But let's say I want to make a calendar for February. I'm going to toggle the January layer off and then toggle the February layer on. Let's scroll down further in the Layers palette to the 4 Seasons background layer group. Here we have a whole bunch of different seasonal backgrounds. I'm going to toggle off the spring background and try a few different winter backgrounds by toggling them on and off. I'm going to stick with winter background 3. You can see that in this particular template, there are varying levels of transparency for different backgrounds. The background I've chosen isn't transparent at all, so I'm going to adjust the opacity level to around 70 so the text is more clearly visible over top of it. Now I'm ready to add my own photo. I'm going to open up the organizer by going to Palettes, Organizer, and then click on Show Navigation and locate the folder where I've saved my images. Then I'll go over to the Layers palette and scroll to the Your Image layer. Now I'll click on my image from the organizer and drag it above the layer that says Drag Image above this layer. Now I'll click on the Pick tool and click and drag on the image nodes to resize the image so it fits in the calendar nicely. You can click and drag on the image to reposition it within the mask. Let's say we want to add a birthday, event, or holiday to this calendar. First, click on your image on the Layers palette. Then select the Text tool and click on your calendar where you want to write your title and type out your text. I want to write Valentine's Day on the 14th. You can highlight the text and change the font type and size as well. You can also use the Pick tool to reposition and resize your text as well. And click on Font Color to change the color of the font by selecting your desired color from the color wheel. Once you've finished designing one month of your calendar, you'll have to save the image as a JPEG to print out each month you design individually. Now let's look at some more advanced customization options. I have created this other calendar for April, but I'm not happy with how the color scheme looks with my chosen photo. I can change the look of the background by selecting the background layer I am using from the Layers palette, in this case, Spring Background 2. Then go to Adjust, Hue and Saturation, Hue Saturation Lightness, and play around with the sliders to change the color scheme. Or say you prefer to use your own custom color background. I'll toggle off the visibility icon of Spring Background 2. Now I'll scroll down and right-click on the white background layer and select Duplicate. Now click on the Flood Fill tool, and I can choose any color I want from the palette. Or I can double-click on the Foreground and Stroke Properties box and select any color, pattern, or gradient that I want to use as my background. I could even click on the Eyedropper tool and sample a color from my photograph to make a matching background. Then just use the Flood Fill tool to click on the Copy Background layer to fill it in with the color or pattern of your choice. We can also adjust the transparency level so our text is clearly visible. Now let's say I want to change the orange color of the month name and the Saturday and Sunday dates. I'll click on the April layer on the Layers palette, then click on the Color Changer tool, and select the color of my choice. Then simply click on the color I want to replace. I also want to use a more decorative font for the month. Since the current font is part of a raster layer, I'll have to use the eraser tool to erase April. Then I can once again click on the text tool and type out the month in my desired font and make any adjustments needed to the size and color. You could also change the color of the dates if, for example, you wanted to highlight a special date with a different color. To do this, click on the April layer and then click the lock icon to lock the transparency of the layer. Now select the paintbrush tool and paint over the dates you want to highlight with the color of your choice. Finally, let's say you want a white background behind the calendar dates in the event you prefer a dark background pattern or color. You can click on the rectangle tool and draw out a white rectangle. Then make sure to arrange the layer on the Layers palette so it is underneath all of the text. And now we have a beautiful custom calendar that we can print out and share with friends and family. If you're watching this video on YouTube, you'll find a link in the description below that will take you to our tutorial page on the Discovery Center. Here you can download a written copy of this tutorial to follow along and find other helpful tutorials for PaintShop Pro.